I'm Johnny Smith.
I'm Richard Porter.
And this is Smith & Sniff, a podcast in which two friends talk about cars and many other things, actually in person.
Full disclosure, we're still in America, but we're not at Renspelt anymore because it's finished.
Yeah.
We're just killing time waiting to go to the airport, and we thought, well, since we're together and we're not often together, we'll do a podcast in the same room instead of remotely.
We've got a big tubby Suburban waiting to take us.
Well, we assume so. I thought you were going to say we've got a big tubby coffee. We just went down to there's, I don't know, some area of sweet Monterey, the town where we're staying.
Some area.
So, I was going to say it's a precinct, but that makes it sound like a sort of 70s shopping centre. And we just went to the spa, and then popped into Woolworths. No, we went and got a coffee and a pastry, but the pastries were so massive that we just had to share one.
It was a croissant the size of what are those very large crabs that you can eat?
Which
have an orangey brown shell.
Oh, okay, yeah, and they're not Dungeness crabs, are they?
But you know they're large.
Yeah.
So imagine a croissant that's basically it's a pastry crab.
Yeah.
And it's huge. It's unnecessarily large. And we both looked to one another and I quite fancy one of those, but not all of it.
No. And then the coffee, and we stupidly went medium, forgetting that where we are. And of course, 2 cardboard buckets of coffee came out, and it's fine. It's just I think it just takes some adjustment because we're British,
don't you know?
And we're just not as good at. Well, I don't know. Everything is just a bit smaller in our country, isn't it?
I won't dwell on the. We've already obviously done the podcast on Renspelt and the Porsche walk round, but having a walk round near the harbour today.
Yeah.
And of course, being foreigners, we just enjoy looking at street furniture and stuff. We actually found a Ghetto Boxster.
Oh yes,
didn't we?
This is when did we do this? It was a video, wasn't it? But we might have put it into a podcast.
Did a video driving along. I think it was on the A1, and was I chasing a Boxster that I thought was a bit ghetto?
Maybe. I think the video was called Ghetto
Boxster.
And, and this has been your dream for a long time, to buy a mechanically excellent but cosmetically shagged Boxster, and it's not quite what you've ended up doing.
No, I've actually bought a better one than I needed to.
But then we saw your hypothetical dream, which I always believe was only a dream, because someone who doesn't look after the cosmetics probably doesn't look after the mechanicals. But we hadn't factored in Cali spec sun damage. We've taken photos of this car, by the way. I'll share them with the patrons. But
we've got serious lack of lift.
Incredible lack of lift. Even on the door mirrors, like the top of the door mirrors had gone all... And it's like the back, the boot cover and engine cover. Full eczema. Metallic blue eczema.
It is. It looked great. And inside, I noticed the side bolsters of the seats, they'd all got hurt. And we were stood outside. It was outside like a delicatessen. We were taking photos of it. And it was next to an immaculate 986 Boxster, a black one, a gleaming black one on Cali black plate.
The irony here, of course, being that we've just spent 4 days at the world's biggest Porsche festival looking almost exclusively at Porsches. And then when we went for a stroll around the town where we're staying, we ended up getting drawn to look at some more Porsches. It feels like we need to sort of detox by going to a Vauxhall show next weekend or something.
Well, the walk round today was a sort of Porsche methadone walk. You're not going to have a full hit.
Yeah.
You're not allowed.
Well, and then we saw that trio of beautiful sort of 60s, so early 70s, a 911, a 914, and then another 911, a really nice one on Steelies.
Oh.
And then we ended up walking while browsing at small ads for 912s back in the UK.
Yeah.
So, but the delight of taking pictures of the heavily patinated Boxster in the street, and the owner coming out of the delicatessen with his coffee and assuming somehow, I think, that we were like
taking the piss,
and we had to explain that we absolutely were not, and we really liked the cut of its jib.
Yeah.
And then it turned out that it was quite low mileage, but it's just that it had been outside for 10 years.
He said it's just been it's been street parked for over a decade in California. That's what happens.
Cosmetically.
But I won't talk about any more Porsches. I just wanted to say thank you, a really massive thank you to everybody who came and said hi at the event. From all over the world. We had our own silly words quoted back to us, and it was very heartwarming, and some really genuine messages of thanks for saving my soul during lockdown. So thanks everybody, because without you we wouldn't be doing this. And as you can imagine, it's really hard to talk about utter slurry on a weekly basis for an hour.
Yeah, it was very nice. It was very. I mean, the whole thing was very nice. We won't go on.
There's a lot of sweet guys out there and girls.
Yeah, so that was lovely. And also, so far, the feedback to last week's episode's been nice because we don't have guests. We always make a thing about this, and then suddenly we did, and because we felt like since there were people there in person, and it was nice to get some different voices. Yeah. On the podcast. I'm annoyed about the people we didn't manage to get on because we were hanging out with Jay Ward off of Pixar.
Yeah.
Who is the Mr. Cars, basically.
Yeah.
As in Cars the movie. And he's, A, fascinating, but B, a sweet, sweet guy, like genuinely one of the most lovely people you could hope to meet. And I wanted to try and sit down with him on mic.
Yeah.
To talk about some of the stuff he did with cars because he gave a little talk at Ransfeld.
And it was brilliant.
It was brilliant. It was fascinating. And one of the things that really caught my ear was when he said that how much the sort of dynamics of the cars were important to them, and they analysed how each car drove and then fed that into the animation modelling, so that Lightning McQueen rides really hard like a racing car would.
Yeah. With short suspension travel.
Yeah, so he said the classic illustration of this is the scene where they're tractor tipping and then they get chased by the combine. What's the combine called?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
It's saying, "Run! He's going to get you!" And his name I can't remember now. And they're going over sort of rutted field, and if you watch, and it's true, I could sort of picture it in my mind's eye. Lightning is jiggling about
bouncing
like a bastard, and Mater, being a sloppily suspended old truck, is sort of gliding over the surface like a 2CV, and that sort of stuff, and how much effort they put into it, and also even tiny details like they figured out that. To make Sally, the Porsche, look more feminine, they had to treat the eyes slightly differently. That included putting a sort of thicker black
windscreen rubber, basically around.
So it sort of looks like mascara.
Yeah.
And it's just a subtle detail, but it kind of slightly feminizes her compared to Lightning or the other characters. So much work went into it, and it's a shame we couldn't get a chance to sit down with Jake because he was a man in demand.
Well, there will be a video out on the Late Break Show.
Oh yes, you did.
I did manage to.
Shut up.
It was a fairly brief chat, but hopefully there's some good nuggets in there about how they created that real 911 cut and shut vehicle. Vehicle.
I also I met Jay's wife, who's also lovely, and she's works in the makeup industry, as in like sort of TV and film makeup and. Grooming.
Did she thread your eyebrows while she was talking to you?
No, but we had a long chat. She's a massive Top Gear fan of the old sort of my era of show, and we had quite a long chat, slightly too long chat, possibly about Jeremy Clarkson's eyebrows and nose.
No.
And she said she loved the show, but sometimes she's watching Jeremy. She's thinking, I'd love to get my hands on him because he looks flaky on screen.
Does he look like Ed Croissant?
Yes, it does. Well, he looks like the bootleg of that box door. You just go, oh, if I brush that, bits are going to come off.
Has he got Cali skin lift?
Well, he does because he does. And I said to her, he doesn't. One of the problems is he's of a generation of sort of pig-headed man that doesn't wear sun cream.
Yeah.
And she went, oh, don't get me started. I know so many men of that age who don't. And I keep saying that,
you've really got to.
You've got to for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, hi, Dad.
Is your dad one of those?
I think Dad's been a sun cream refuser for years.
Oh, Bob, come on.
And Bob does not have the sort of the Mediterranean spec complexion where it can absorb such things and sort of be a bit more forgiving and oily. Yeah. He's not that guy.
No.
In fact, my dad's... Bless him, I love you, Dad. Your ears are a little bit like the Boxster that we saw on the street earlier on.
They're like the door mirrors on that.
Yeah, the door, you did.
Gone all sort of scabby. Anyway, also, well, since we talked about your dad, because your dad is one of the few people who is on our guests exceptions list. We can never remember. We should write this down. But Lewis Hamilton, Sade, your dad, Bob.
My dad.
We've also added Alana Scher, who we had on last week, to the list because... Yeah. She's genuinely listened to the podcast, which is very sweet. Hi, Alana. But also, she asked if she could because she didn't get along with us because she had to go off to that seminar thing, and we wish we could have had more time with her on the show. So she's officially now on the guest exception list. If we ever find ourselves in Los Angeles,
we will. We'll be back.
Well, yeah, we were talking about this when we were walking down the street. It'd be like really cool to go to the LA show or something because we know sort of a lot of people we know and like would be in Tyne.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, it begs the question. It begs the question: if comments, please, if you're an American listener to this podcast, if we were to try and organise a little live event off of America, would you come? Obviously, I don't expect you to. I don't expect if you're from Kansas to just pop over to Florida.
Well, I don't know. But sometimes American people do, because flying, I suppose, is relatively cheap. I'm saying this, I don't actually know if it is. Although weird, hang on, I got a flight. I got a flight internally in the US at Christmas because we went from LA to Phoenix. I just can't remember how much it cost. I mean, it wasn't like £5, but I don't think it was insanely expensive because people need to get around, don't they? Because see their families coming up to Thanksgiving, isn't it? Next, when's that?
May.
November. Yeah, people fly around. So, I don't know. Well, anyway, yes, good question. If we came over here and did a live show, trouble is it would be like, where do we do it?
Well, these are all the things we can discuss. It's assuming anyone would actually want to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we thought that about the UK shows, no people. Anyway, what else is going on? We saw. I'll put a picture of this already on the socials. I don't know. I haven't decided yet because it's too good to not share. Is that we were walking down the street and we saw a sweet, sweet prelude.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Really tidy.
Sweet, yeah. It was mint.
Made us realise how good cars look with no front number plates sometimes, and this one didn't have it.
You Americans have got it so lucky in certain states, of course.
I don't understand how it works in California. I'm sure someone will write.
I think apparently somebody said to me recently that you are supposed to have a plate on, but they sort of don't care enough to bother you.
This is what I think I've been told. Because in all new cars seem to have front plates now. Yeah. Pretty much. But you do see a lot of cars without, maybe sort of older, or I don't know.
I'm very jealous.
There are some states where I think you're allowed just to not.
I'm very jealous.
I don't know which ones those are. But yeah, it looks so clean, doesn't it? Particularly the Prelude, because it's got that nice sort of eagle eye front.
Yeah, it's those inlets next to the headlights. And without a plate on it, it makes every car look more squat and wider, which I'm very glad about. I know.
Which states require a front license plate? That's what there's planes going over here. So. Oh, yeah, Arizona, because I know this because it's where my wife's from.
So you hear that plane?
Yeah.
It just sounds like someone swinging overhead with a trombone. Going,
yeah. Well, this says it is illegal to drive without a front license plate in the following states. California, number 1. So I guess people just choose to flaunt the law because they're not going to get pulled for it. It's just a sort of minor. It looks like it's about a sort of half and half split. So states where you aren't required to have a front license plate: Alaska, Arizona, Alabama, Arkansas, Delaware, Florida, lots of them, really. Michigan, which is so interesting. It's probably not interesting.
Interesting.
But anyway, yeah, a sweet, sweet Prelude without a front plate is a clean-looking car.
We've just realised that on the flight home in a couple of hours from now, for us, we're going to be on the same flight as David Piper, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Porsche 917s.
Well, and also, of course, Andy Green, who we were on the flight out with.
he's there.
So now I'm hoping I'm in a position where I can see Andy Green for takeoff, so I can observe what you observed on the way out.
It was brilliant.
Eagle-eyeing the flaps and stuff.
I
don't know.
It was wonderful.
We did realise, this is sort of name-dropping now, but while we were having our coffee sitting outside in the shopping precincts, Andy Green and his wife walked past and went, "Oh, hello," and so we had a brief chat.
We did.
And
they were lovely.
They're very, very nice people.
And I said it'd be really nice to be. I bet they'd be good neighbours to have.
Yeah.
And then Rich was like, "But you wouldn't cross them."
Well, I think that's the thing. I think they wouldn't tolerate you just
being a tosser,
being a twat. If you were a bad neighbour, I think you would find out pretty quickly that the Greens weren't going to tolerate that. But if you were a good neighbour, I'd like to think that I am. You think you're a good neighbour?
I think I'm all right. I care about my neighbours.
Yes.
I do care about them.
I think I annoy my neighbours because I have too many cars sometimes.
Well, and some might say that it's irritating to periodically pressure wash a car at about 10:15 at night.
Yes, that is irritating.
Yeah, that was done. That was done fairly recently.
What, so full like...
Yeah.
At 10:15?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did try and cloak I tried to cloak the Karcher a little bit.
With what?
I turned it. I put it around the corner from next door's house, and I
Cloaking the
like a windbreak type thing. I managed.
Yeah.
I held up a couple of towels on like a small frame,
Yeah.
so it would deflect the sound. But I also I didn't run it on full boost. I ran it on sort of half boost, so you don't get that really intense.
Are you sure? I don't think the noise difference is that great, is it, between full and half? Is it?
Well, look, if you're listening, Derek, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry about that.
It's no.
And I also walk. It's that whole thing. We've done it. We've talked about it before. But like midnight detailing seems like an amazing idea, and you think that you've done a brilliant job. It's an absolute 50-50 whether you have. But also, as I was walking around the car pressure washing it, it was a full moon, I think, and quite warm. But I was stepping on lots of snails.
Oh.
So as I was walking around blasting, I could hear the crunch of death.
I really hate stepping on snails.
I hate stepping on snails.
I just there's also a small pang of guilt every time.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the stupid fuckers could get off my back path if they don't want to be stepped on when it's dark. But it is just a horrible feeling.
Snails are cool.
No, they are cool.
They're like friendly camper vans, whereas slugs, unfortunately, just look like poos.
Pricks.
Do you know what? I have to say this, listeners. As we were walking around near the bay this morning, just admiring, I don't know, the views and the sea smell, Rich stared. We're on that pier.
Yeah.
Rich stared at a seagull that was just stood there kind of minding its own business. And what did you say to it?
Was that the one I called a twat?
Yes. And then you took a picture of it. It's like you were so annoyed with it.
They're such cocky twats, aren't they? And they're just I don't. It was like I said to you. I like birds generally now, and I think something like owls or even robins or it's just kind of there's a buzzard that swoops over our house and you hear it.
Yeah.
Quite a haunting sound sometimes, but it's a beautiful thing. I just love seeing it. And those are the good birds. And you think we've got to respect those, look out for them, because
robins,
if you're not
owls.
careful, the good guys. But there's a real chance that sort of suddenly they die out because we as humankind have done some idiotic thing that's damaged their habitat or their ability to survive. We've got to look out for the birds. Gulls, I don't give a toss. You just know they're not going away because they're scavengers, they're opportunists, and they're pricks. There's no way. Just like you, as I said to you, I was like, I would love to just be able to kick a gull off that pier because you know that it would be all right. Because they're big bastards, aren't they? But also, even if you kill the gull, and I'm not suggesting killing wildlife, but even if one were to become killed, like that, my mate who went on a French exchange stayed with a really rich family who had a boat.
Oh, I got this story.
And they went out to sea on the boat, and they were having loads of food out on the deck. And they had chicken legs, and he threw a big chicken bone into the sea because that's what everyone else was doing. And this huge gull swooped down from the mast, grabbed the bone, and as it flew back to the mast, my mate Dave noticed the bone seemed to be sort of sticking like it was a big lump on the side of the gull's neck, and it then became clear the gull was choking. And then the gull collapsed and fell off the mast, bounced off the deck of the boat in a huge cloud of feathers and plopped into the sea. And all the French family were turning around going, oh, qu'est-ce que c'est, qu'est-ce que c'est? Dave felt so guilty that he couldn't admit that he knew exactly what had happened. And it made a right mess of their boat because there were feathers everywhere. But that's the thing. So if a gull dies, it's okay. There's plenty of gulls to spare, so I have no sympathy for
We don't
gulls.
hate gulls, but crows are cooler. Because crows are intelligent and streetwise. Yeah. Gulls are just streetwise.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're a bit. Are gulls thick? I think they probably are. Quite I mean, there's something sort of perversely impressive about a really big gull because you just go, fucking hell, look at that absolute unit of a gull.
Nobody looks at gulls like that.
Do you think I look at gulls a bit much?
You do. You're a gull looker.
Gulls.
Anyway. Looking for a good time. I wanted to talk about driving stick shift.
Yes.
The Prelude that we saw this morning didn't have. It had an impressively girthed Cobra head auto shifter, wasn't it?
Yeah. I took a picture. I don't know how good it is, but
I was talking to the sort of shuttle bus driver coming back from Rendsburg last night,
Oh, was that? I went into standby mode.
Yeah. Rich fell asleep with his mouth open.
But it wasn't sort of proper. I was just like, because I could still kind of hear your voices, but like they were very far away, even though they weren't. I had a sudden attack of tiredness.
We were talking about the youth of America getting enthused about manual gearboxes again, probably as a result of import tuning culture.
Oh, see, I probably was asleep then because I don't remember any of that.
Oh, you prunts. Well, he said, yeah, I learnt to drive manual as a 14-year-old.
Oh,
and he said my grandpa ran a garage repair shop in, I think, where was he born and bred? It was Florida, wasn't it?
He was from Florida, yeah. Because that conversation I do remember about the weirdness of Florida.
Yeah,
and he was saying that as someone who lives there.
Yeah, so he said, my grandpa insisted that I learn manual shift because he said you might as well. And he had a bad trade-in car that was not particularly precious, and it was a Renault Le Car. And he said,
I do remember.
He said I drove. In his own words, he said, it was a funny little piece of shit, but it kind of took the punishment. And he said, Grandpa was quite laid back and just used to let me drive it out on the road at night. So he learned to drive, and it made me think: how many Le Cars are left in America? Because when did Renault exit America? Was it in the 90s?
Well, they as themselves, I think, probably 80s. But then Renault-based cars were sold here as Eagles through Chrysler dealers.
Eagles.
So there was the Eagle Premier. And what were the Renault 9 and the Renault 11 were Eagles. I can't remember what they were called. They're called the Alliance. American listeners know
it was the Alliance. I've heard of the Alliance. Yeah,
I'm just looking up.
Was that definitely Chrysler?
Yeah, it was because Renault and Chrysler were sort of united, and then there was the Renault 21 and the Renault 25 were rebodied. The Eagle Premier, I think, was the Renault 25 underneath, but with a Giugiaro designed, quite bland body that sort of looked like a Hyundai or something at the time. But so yeah, they probably didn't actually leave until the 90s. But when did that? I don't know. Anyway, it was cool because it was all the kind of the AMC connection, and then
That's exactly.
I was just looking up the legal driving age in different US states, because quite a few states it's 16. I thought that some of them it was younger, but actually you can get. It says here minimum age for a learner's permit in Alaska or Arkansas or Iowa or Kansas, and there's a few of them. It's 14, so you can start learning when you're 14 in those states. And then there's some really weird ones. Minimum age for a full driver's license. In Alaska, it's 16 and a half.
What?
Same in Arizona, 16 and a half.
But you can drive with an adult in the passenger seat.
So, I mean, Arizona here is a case
of
this half thing is baffling. I'm going to have to ask my wife. She knows why this is, because it seems just odd. But Arizona, you can have a learner's permit when you're 15 and a half, and you can have a full driving license when you're 16 and a half.
That's so young.
It is, isn't it? But then you see, just because it's a big place, you need to get around. Public transport is pretty shit. So I guess it's almost like you need it, don't you?
How do you get insurance if you're 14 driving a truck?
But insurance is different here because it's the car that's insured, not the driver.
Oh yeah.
So when my wife lived here, she used to come over and see her, and I'd just borrow her.
Did you?
Nissan Xterra.
Is that what she had?
Yeah.
I was going to say something like...
I told you about my wife's Nissan Xterra.
No.
But that thing...
Nissan.
That generally people here want to go into a car dealership and leave with a new car.
Yeah.
It tends to be sort of, much more sort of...
They won't wait. They won't order and wait. It's not the culture,
certainly
is it?
Don't wait. No. Don't order.
Well, it certainly wasn't.
It wasn't, and it even wasn't for Porsche. The US was the only market where Porsche dealers held stock. That's changed. They decided, and the rest of the world, they like the order thing because it's like, the Porsche should be a special purchase. And so the ordering and waiting was part of the sort of foreplay of the ownership experience, build up the excitement. It didn't work here originally. And then what they've done now is they have moved to that model because they have a whole online system where you can kind of watch your car being built and get updates and stuff like that. And it makes it more exciting.
It's making me excited just listening to that.
Well, imagine you sort of being able to... I don't know how... I guess they've got cameras on the production line. You get told when yours is coming down. I don't know.
Because I could order a purposely, damaged GT3
damaged?
touring.
Why would you want damaged?
You can order paint by sample and all that shizzle.
Yes. That lovely thing we've been given.
Oh, sweet.
We've been given these.
Colour swatch
I might do
booklet.
again. I'll probably put this on social media by the time this goes out. But there's this beautiful little box, and you open it up, and then it's just got a very thick. Probably
2 inches thick.
Yeah, it's swatches of all the paint to sample colours in the current range. It's an exquisite item.
It is a sweet collectible.
Yeah, I suppose it is collectible, isn't it? Because I noticed it's got "not for resale" put on the box on the bottom, but I'm not
we won't be selling it.
Just look at it like a weirdo. The person from Porsche who gave it to me went, "Is this something you would like?" And I was like, "Yes,
it
Don't
is.
judge me, but you already know I'm a bit strange."
It's if anyone's a designer or anything like that, it's like a Pantone.
Yeah, it is.
It's those Pantone swatches that a lot of graphic designers use, or if you go into a shop and you want to paint your wall, decorating shop, and all that.
I was wondering if you could take that and go, do you know what? I would like my sitting room wall to be oak green. You could take it down to a paint matching place and have them match a Porsche colour to a paint for the wall.
Of course you could. You could be that guy.
Quite exciting. Have your whole house done in Porsche paint to sample colours.
Talking of which, I know we're talking about Porsches again. My ghetto Boxster, that's not as ghetto as it probably ought to be.
Yeah.
I'm convinced the only major issue is this module under the passenger seat, which has been water damaged. I know that, and I've been doing some investigation. I think I can get it fully sorted by a reliable source for 500 sheets, which still keeps it a bargain Boxster.
Yeah.
But I had a few listeners and people on social media through our Instagram saying, "Sounds like a job for Non-Stop Talking John, the auto electrician." And it probably is. But it would mean I'd have to properly communicate with Non-Stop Talking John on that side of things.
Yeah.
And who hasn't featured on the podcast for a long time, I know.
No, but here he is back again, with the Renegade Master. And the problem you would have is that if you did that, would you then have to feature him in video?
I would have to video him doing some fettling.
Content. And then people in the comments would just all comment on that side of things. And then John would go, "Oh, Johnny's put up that video that I'm in. Oh, look, I'm on the YouTube." And he would look it up, and then he would look at the comments, and he'd go, "Why is everyone just saying on that side of things in the comments?" And then he would realise, and then he'd be onto us, and then we'd be in trouble.
I know, and he's a lovely guy.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
He is a sweet guy.
Imagine if you didn't realise that you unwittingly kept saying the same thing, and then you found out that two pricks on a podcast sold T-shirts with that thing that you said on the front. How would you feel?
Stop it, because I do feel guilty on a regular basis.
We're clear that his name isn't John, isn't it? That's the thing.
His name's not John.
Changed his name to protect him. But
his name's Daryl. But non-stop talking John, he's the master of any electrical gremlin, of which that's exactly what the Porsche has.
Well, this could be your DEFCON 1 then. If it's not the module, or the module replacement or fix doesn't entirely solve the issue, then is that when you have to fire up non-stop talking John?
Yeah, it is.
NSTJ.
Yeah, and I will see if I can video him. And if he does, I mean, chances are it's like an electrical fault for a car. You'll take it into the garage and go, "It won't stop doing this." And you take it to the garage and it doesn't do it at all for weeks. And they go, "Do you know what you're talking about?
Yeah.
We've run it through all the checks. Bloody thing's fine." I feel like if I was to video non-stop talking John, he won't say on that side of things, and then the world will think that I'm a fibbing fibber.
I suppose the other way of doing it is just that you have to lean into it and accept it, and so that every time he says it, if he does on camera, you just have a little counter at the corner.
Ting, like a tally.
Yes.
Again. Hot sock, John.
What was I saying before? Oh no, I was going to say the story about my wife's Nissan Xterra, though it's not a very interesting story, but it's just that I remember the first time that I got in it, and I was like, what the hell is this car? Because it had no central locking, no electric windows. It was incredibly basic.
That sounds brilliant.
Well,
was it 90s?
2000s. It was an almost new car.
What?
Yeah. So, I started dating my wife in like 2006. And yeah, it was like a year old or something.
Bloody hell.
I know, I didn't think you could buy cars that basic.
Not in the States, certainly.
No. And what had happened is she'd gone to the dealership, and in the accepted American way, she was imagining she would go home with a brand new car. And they had 2 Xterras ready to go, a blue one and a black one. The blue one was quite a nice spec and had all the stuff you'd want on it. Because central locking is very convenient, let's not forget. It's a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
But she really wanted the black one, so she took the black one, even though it was absolute base spec. And presumably the dealer was thinking, I'm never going to shift this fucking thing because it's just no.
I wonder if it's still around.
I don't know. I mean...
My kids, when I take them out in my Beetle and other cars, but when I unlock the driver's door with the key, obviously, they are banging and pulling on the passenger door, and then going, open it. I've got to get in it to open it because it doesn't have a key hole on the passenger side.
Yeah,
you have to go in and lift the knob.
That annoys me. You know, some cars have single point entry, so only driver's door and then you see double clip, and I always. I treat it like some kind of like a cowboy in a quick draw contest. Try to double clip before my shoulders start going on the door handles and things because it really annoys me. Same as in our Range Rover, it's auto locks as you drive off.
Yes,
quite a common feature in cars the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Somehow, my 997 was the same. Auto locks when you drive off, but now generally when you stop and put a modern car into park, or maybe when you turn off the engine. Generally, they're programmed to auto-unlock. Mm-hmm. And it feels like that's a feature they didn't think of when they first developed auto drive-away locking. And so both of the 2000s cars that I've owned that did that didn't auto-unlock when you pulled up. And it... It's so pedantic, but it really annoys me because my wife still hasn't cottoned. Well, she knows what's going on, but basically in the Range Rover, so you pull the interior door handle once, and that just unlocks, and the pin goes up on the door sill, and then you have to pull it again. Yeah. So what happens is we stop, and if you don't do anything, my wife then sort of basically, it feels like she just starts yanking at the handle really aggressively. It annoys the shit out of me, but not enough to mention it because I don't want to get divorced. So what I do is I try and go for the unlock button as quickly as possible before she can get the door handle.
It's like fastest finger first.
Yes, it's a quick draw contest, but she doesn't know she's in it.
Well, it's a car exit quick draw game show.
Yeah. It's only her because the kids, there's child locks on the back, so they're not playing the game. They will one day, I imagine.
Fastest finger on the buzzers and all that.
Yeah. It's my boy actually, because he's 9 now, has asked if we can take the child locks off his side because he feels like he's grown up enough now to be trusted, which is fine. But he's also asked if I can stop isolating the windows in the back. Which I sort of do because there comes a point where inevitably they start dicking around with them. Or at least his sister will because she's 6.
Yeah.
And she's a fiddler as well.
Yeah.
She is an instinctive fiddler. And honestly, my wife lost a credit card the other day and we're convinced that our daughter has probably just picked it up and walked off with it and put it somewhere else.
Oh, gosh.
She's a little magpie. She's a fiddler and a magpie.
Have you when electric windows were novel, did you ever used to do electric window drag racing with a friend or your brother? You got a brother, I got a brother. So you put them both down, or obviously they were both up, and you'd count yourself in, and then press, and then see which one reached the waistline.
We never had a car with electric windows in the back growing up.
Neither did we. So we used to do it in friends' cars, and then quietly drive the mum or the dad absolutely mad.
Yeah. Oh, there'd be a telling off quite quickly if that was my car. I can't be doing that. No, we didn't. We did it because my dad got a Talbot Solara GLS in 1981 that had front electric windows. Ooh la la!
Did it?
Yes, it did. And,
so you could wind down the windows and hear the hideous sound of the engine.
The tapsiness. No, that was fine. Enough of that leaked through the dashboard to keep you going. It was a very noisy car. I remember because we've talked before about my Uncle Alwyn, my godfather, who was a Volvo man for a long time and covered the stereo with a cloth when he left his Volvos parked.
Incredible.
Suddenly went BMW and went E34 535i. So, and I remember we went to see my Uncle Alwyn, and got a lift in his BMW. And I couldn't believe how quiet it was. It was like I thought my hearing had gone. And then getting back into Dad's Solara and going, fuck, this car is so noisy. Thankfully, it was switched to a 405 quite soon afterwards. And that was back into electric windows, in fact, because that's it. The Solara GLS went and was replaced with a lower spec Solara that had windy windows again. And it felt like, oh, God, we've gone backwards.
Solara.
Anyway, yeah, I know.
Well, not to be confused, and we've said this before, with the Toyota Solara in the States here, which I did see a convertible go past the hotel window this morning.
That's an unhappily proportioned car.
It is an unhappily proportioned
I was going to
car.
look this up, actually. What did we see?
It looks like an artisan soap.
Yes, it does. It's just the front's sort of okay in a generic 90s Toyota sort of way, and then the back just goes...
It absolutely does. It's like John Travolta introducing Idina Menzel. It's like right at the end.
Please welcome the gorgeously empowered, wickedly talented Toyota. We had a Solara Coupe as the original reasonably priced car on one of the pilots of Top Gear USA.
Really?
I can't remember which one. Anyway, and it was and it turned up, I think 2 turned up. It was amazing because it was a pilot. They somehow persuaded Toyota to supply 2. Or maybe it was for the series. Did it ever give us the I don't know. Anyway, no, there was no series at that point. So they supplied 2, and I think they'd been caged up, so there was quite a bit of money spent.
I wonder if they still exist.
Well, the thing is, they were brand new cars, and it was deemed that they looked too nice. I can't remember what the feature was renamed. I'm sure it was renamed something. It wasn't Star in a reasonably priced car.
Oh, really?
It was something else. I forget now. And...
famous person in an OK automobile?
Yeah. Well, it might have been average cars. There was probably a lot of where if they got Toyota to supply cars, they probably had some kind of like, well, we have to say something that's not insulting to the car. Even though I think reasonably priced is not insulting. But
No.
So, yeah, they were deemed to be too shiny and nice. And so they did this. I had nothing to do with this. I was unaware of it until it was too late. And I kind of went, oh, no, this is shit. Because they tried to make them look crap. So they covered them in dirt. But you can always tell when a car's been artificially covered in dirt.
Hollywood dust.
It's Hollywood dust, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they did things like took one of the front indicators out.
What, the brand new car supplied by Toyota must have been so upset.
Well, that's what I thought. I can't remember how this went down, but they just looked artificially shitted up, and it was no good. And B, the Toyota would have probably been furious that they'd made their brand new cars look like the indicators fall out or something. So yeah, it's weird. I've forgotten about that until now. But yeah, the Solara was at some point supposed to be a car. What I was looking up here though was that car we saw this morning on the street, which was a Mazda CX-90. The
huge thing.
Huge, big SUV that's sold here. That is not a good bit of design. Certainly not by Mazda standards. They're usually pretty good these days.
No, it's a very slabby front end. And it was street parked right behind a Range Rover Spowler.
No, that was that Kia we saw, which we just like.
Oh, sorry,
an extremely generic car that we couldn't quite. I can't remember what that Kia was called. The Solange or something.
It's called a Retardo, wasn't it, or a
Selfie?
What's it called?
Sell something. I have to look that up in a second. I was just going to say. I've just realised from looking at the Mazda website, the CX-90, apart from the fact that side on its proportions are a bit cack, it's got that new Mazda inline 6. It's got a straight 6. Which is. Yeah, let's have a look. Kia USA. Yeah, we saw this parked behind an original shape Range Rover Spowell. We saw a small Kia SUV that just looks absolutely like some generic car.
Was it Salsa? Kia Salsa? I don't know.
Saliva? Seltos. I found it. Seltos, which does...
Oh, sell? What, as in...
Sell toss.
What, as in selling toss?
Yes. Would you like some toss?
Selling...
Do you know how much the Kia Soul cost in the United States?
No,
because some of the Kia.
No, because I don't really know about. I mean, I don't keep track of US car prices, but
what, you don't?
No, I simply don't.
You can have a Soul for $19,990.
That sounds cheap.
It does, doesn't it? Let's have a look. I don't know what the exchange rate is any good at the moment.
You've just reminded me, Mike Musto from Hemmings, who was a guest on the last podcast.
Yes,
he I was talking to him about my Element.
Yeah,
because I saw one on the street and got excited. And he went, dude, have you seen how much low mileage, really clean Elements go for in the States now? And I went, I got no idea. He went, like 25 grand.
Oh.
He said 20 to 25 because they all get used and thrown away. No, they get used hard because they're so practical. But B, owners of Elements want another Element. They just want another one. So they wear one out and go, I have to find one. Yeah. I know they're worth it.
Like my friend Hannah, who just keeps buying Ford cars, like original shape.
Yeah.
Because she just always had them and she loves them. And it's like, but then they rot and go wrong, you know.
Yeah.
And so when they come to the point where they're not replaceable or not serviceable,
it's exactly that.
She puts in a remarkable amount of effort to finding tidy cat to replace.
Can you imagine if that was like a legal requirement? So whatever car, let's say not your first car, but let's say whatever your second car was.
Yeah.
You have to, by law, keep driving that car for the rest of your life.
Yeah, but what if you have a family? Your first car was a Fiat Cinquecento.
Then tough titty.
Oh. Well,
you just have to do it. So what was your second car?
What was my second car? Actually, you know what? My second car that I actually bought was a Rover 75.
Oh, very practical family machine.
It's for the second week running. We're talking about the Rover 75.
Oh, gosh, no.
Which I have no problem with whatsoever, but, I'm just saying.
And mine was a very, very bad condition 1973 VW panel van.
Oh, my God. Well, there you go. I mean, what are you going to do? Transport your children around in a very, very bad condition VW Type 2?
You can modify it a bit. I put seats in it. I can I'll cut some windows out so they can see, so it's less kidnappy.
Before I forget, the price of a Kia Soul in British pounds would be about 16,300 quid.
That's what the cheapest car in Britain is about 14 at the moment.
It is, yeah.
We talked about that, didn't we, a few months ago?
It's now. Someone pointed this out. We thought it's the Kia. Dacia Sandero, but it might not be.
Oh.
No, I didn't actually. I can't remember what it is now.
Is it? It's not an MG, is it?
Yes, it might be the MG3. That's right. Or it might even be the Hyundai i10 or something around. I can't remember now.
The Kia Picanto, which is a pretty little car. I know we've said that before. I like the Picanto.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's also sort of feels quite high quality for a small car.
It's like it's got VW Up vibes about it in terms of big car feeling.
Up
vibes.
Up vibes.
Hi, up vibes.
It sounds like what do we describe the music as last night? We went to a party last night.
Oh yeah, we did.
And
there was no food. Actually, there was some food.
There was food,
but not enough.
Well, we should have known this because it was billed as light bites.
It was light bites, and I was effing hungry.
You were so hungry that you actually left to try and go to a restaurant. I came back because they'd stopped serving.
I was furious they'd stopped serving food. I'd had 5 cocktails, and I was absolutely Hank Marvin.
No, I am talking shit because actually the i10 starts at 15,420 quid, so that's not quite there as a cheapest car in Britain. But I think you're right. MG3 I think just maybe is vying with the Sandero for much cheapness. It made me realise though, talking to Americans and in fact that chap from Porsche who is German and lives in Germany and was talking about the price of used cars there, that we are very lucky in the UK.
Yeah, we are.
I know recently used cars, well, probably since COVID times, have become more expensive, but we're still pretty much,
which is unusual given that there are a lot of cars in Britain. We know that, 40 million or so. But there's more cars here in the States.
Well, this is what always baffles me about it.
There's got to be more cars in Germany than... Isn't there more cars in Germany than Britain?
I suppose it's sort of it's how many cars are there relative to how many people of driving age.
Yeah.
And I don't know that. But...
Sorry, there's someone cycling past on a trombone.
Again.
Yeah. It could be someone from Madness.
It's the saxophonist from Madness.
Yeah,
He's dangling from a crane, dressed as a dragonfly, and he's just blowing gently into his.
Stop it! I've always got this. I've always got such a vivid image whenever you start talking about one of the members of Madness.
Well, only that member of Madness, because he's the only absolute lunatic. What's that?
Oh, I thought that was the member of Madness sort of stepping it up on the tuba or whatever he was on.
I'm just, for the sake of trying to pretend to be a journalist, I've just looked this up. The Sandero starts at 13,795, the MG3 13,820.
Shit.
So there's 25 quid in it.
Can you imagine if you went into a dealer and went, if you knock off 25 quid, I'm going to...
We'll buy this MG3.
And they just go, no, I'm not. And they go, all right, okay, this is my last offer. I want mats. Both my children want MG key rings. My wife wants a massive latte. What are you going to do? And they just go, no, I'm already selling enough.
Yeah, so, well, that's probably the dealer's margin is 17 quid. So they
it does beg the question. But
it is. I mean, it is puzzling that cars in Britain. Well, not that cars in Britain second-hand cars are seemingly quite affordable compared to a lot of other countries, but that second-hand cars in the US aren't cheaper because it feels like they've just got loads of them, and they don't have. Now, is this what? I can't quite figure this out. The logic of this, I'm tired. They don't have MOTs generally. Well, certainly a lot of states they don't have MOTs. Like you can pretty much run your car forever. I don't. You see
into the ground
horrors.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be road legal in Britain. But so the MOT weeds out a lot of stragglers. So you think that would drive prices up? And yet,
because we have a minimum standard.
Yeah. And I mean, so I just don't. This bit, it does actually baffle me a little bit how we got to this point. I'm not complaining. I think it made me realise, having chatted, particularly chatting to the chap from Porsche who's telling us about his Mini Cooper S, like the original supercharged one, and how much he paid for that, and how much certain other kind of quite desirable cars of the last 20 years are worth in Germany. I kind of went, shit. Particularly because we were talking about boxes, weren't we? It's like he's just like, you could not get what you've got.
No, he was shocked
for that money.
Yeah.
And hello, there's someone at the door.
Hang on a sec. Not now, thank you. Sorry. Hello. Hi there.
Sorry, you go today?
Yeah, we're leaving in 15 minutes. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I'm having a shit.
No, you're not. Well, there you go.
That's how pro we are.
Yes. How many other car podcasters have a live chat with housekeeping?
I forgot to say, I know it's still a bit Polshy.
Yes.
We got really close to Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, we did, didn't we?
I don't think we mentioned it.
No, and this just in, cheapest new car in Britain.
Oh gosh,
it might be the Kia Picanto, 13,665.
That is a good car.
Yeah, so that's undercut.
Well, what's it?
130 quid.
Is that a? Well, hang on, no.
These are wafer thin.
Yeah, but like 130 quid gets you a pair of Nike Air Jordans.
Yeah, it does. I'm not sniffing. I'm not saying 130.
130 quid gets you a really impressive sit-down curry night for 4, 5, 6.
Which curry house are you going to? Bloody hell!
Price of food's gone up.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Like a decent curry house with some cobras. I don't mean cobra heads. I mean drinks.
Yeah. But how many? 4 people. Okay, yeah,
6,
yeah, right.
4,
yeah.
4 with booze, 6 without booze.
I haven't been for a sit-down curry for ages.
No,
they're making me want to sit down curry.
Yeah, me too.
Which would be pointless. We were talking to Brits who live over here in the past few days, and who was it? I can't remember who was saying. It's like I haven't had a decent curry since I've lived here. Yeah. So he's lived here for 3 or 4 years. Haven't had a decent curry since I lived here because it's just not the same. And
so yeah, we saw Jerry Seinfeld at Renspolt's.
Yes.
And you noticed impressively white trainers.
It's the first thing I spotted.
Yeah, it was. It was the first. It was the trainer and chino combo, wasn't it? Or was it jeans?
Oh,
I think it was chino.
I think I was so magnetically drawn to the bright white trainers. I think it was chinos. I think he'd gone chinoise.
Yeah.
For Renspalt, and then he's in. But it was because, and then he was sitting in the hospitality thing, which we were allowed into But it felt like it wasn't appropriate to just go and start bothering him and shoving a microphone up his nose, so we sort of left him.
I desperately wanted to have a photo with him, but...
Oh, we haven't mentioned Thierry Boutsen either. Thierry Boutsen's sockless loafer combo, which was a joy to behold. And also, they were giving out flags, Porsche flags to wave around.
I stole 3.
You stole 3. Boutsen suddenly appeared with about 20 under his arm. Like, what are you up to, Boutsen? Maybe he's going to fashion them into socks.
I think he's going to litter his back garden with them, so that every morning he opens the blinds and looks down the garden, and it's like a ceremonial display.
Wait a sec, though. Maybe he's got a badger problem. Because one of our neighbours, there's badgers come through our garden, and they are twats. They do dig up the lawn. I mean,
strong.
I've nothing else against badgers. I think they're magnificent creatures.
Well, you just called them twats.
Yeah, not twats like gulls are twats. It's a bit of a bastard when they make huge holes in your lawn. But, it's like they're not doing it out of spite, they're badgers. They're
looking for food.
Yeah. So it's a very reasonable thing for a creature to do. So, some people on our street were trying to stop them doing it. They put little windmills, those little, like, shiny windmills.
Yeah.
Like kids' ones, all across their lawn. There's some logic that the badgers get sort of spooked by that.
Well, they'll make a little rattle probably as well.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's also because someone else I know once tried to stop badgers digging at their lawn by putting, sort of like a litre soft drink bottle.
Yeah.
Half filling it with water, taking the label off,
and
just lying it on its side. And supposedly, and this might be horse shit because I don't think it worked, that the water reflects or catch moonlight. And it just shimmers slightly, and that just freaks out the badgers. Yeah, they're just catching little bits of it. Shiny windmills are the same, but maybe Porsche flags are the same.
Right.
You got 24 Porsche flags across your lawn.
Yeah. Well, I've only stolen 2, purely because I'm going to sellotape them onto the front wings of my Ghetto Boxster.
Yes.
To look like a diplomat.
Exactly.
I'm going to be a Stuttgart diplomat.
The mayor of Stuttgart's here.
And they'll go, Court, you don't think he could have picked a better condition Porsche, do you?
Well, maybe he's saving taxpayers' money.
He absolutely is.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
Are you going to gaff them, or would you go... Because I think on those mayoral... Am I saying that right?
Mayoral.
Mayoral, is it?
Yeah, mayoral.
Oh, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Do they not have metal...
They have clamps.
Clamps?
Yeah, they do. They're beautiful.
Or you could do it the cut price way by just drilling 2 holes and dropping the flagpoles in with a bit of blue tack on. But then that may expose your front wings to water ingress issues.
I don't want any more ingress.
Oh, you've got ingress
issues.
Yeah, if anything, you need a bit more egress.
I need E, not in.
Yeah.
To continue the Seinfeld observation, I had a thought. I mean, obviously, he gets mobbed.
Yeah,
he's a very, very famous man. Still does stand up, which I didn't realise. Sold out almost everywhere. He's missing a trick.
Right.
I feel like he should have a bass butler. So every time he has a conversation with someone or turns and does something, there's like a different expression.
Yeah.
The bass butler who will be stood behind him with a bass guitar will just go, and then that's it. And then he'll just pause for a couple of minutes. And when he's walking and like looking left, looking right, it will just be this constant incidental music following him.
But are you proposing that he funds this, or that you're funding this to drive him to the brink of madness? Because that's what it could do, I think. He'll tolerate this for a long time.
Yeah. But he draws the line at any bedroom activity. The bass butler is not allowed in the bedroom.
Well, also, presumably, if he's gone to, take care of some business in one of those mini skirt door American bathrooms, and he can just see the head of the bass over the slightly too low door. And he's like, I know you're there. Although maybe it's useful. He's like, I don't want anyone to hear me having a plot, but that's fine.
Oh, so he covers it.
An extended...
He covers it with a fretless bass. That's a great idea, isn't it? No one ever hears Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld's bass butler would be a thing to behold.
And then I thought, when I was told that he still does sell out huge stadium gigs,
yeah,
I'm like... I mean, and we all know he's an exceptionally wealthy guy. Enjoys spending his money on Porsches, but why doesn't he do an opposite gig where instead of selling tickets to the public, he gives every member of the public who wants to come the money the ticket would be, but when you apply to go to a Seinfeld gig, you have to bring a bass guitar with you. So every single person in the audience has a bass and a small amp.
What?
And you have to try and do, and it would be a world record. You have to all play the theme tune, and there'll be he'll have a huge metronome on stage, and everyone has to do it. So the proviso that they get paid to turn up to Jerry's gig, but they bring a bass and a small amp powered from a battery. I'm making this complicated, but I think it could.
I think you are, but and they do these things, don't they? Where it's like mass. They certainly do it for stuff like ukuleles, don't they? There's always something going on, shenanigans with ukuleles and those other ones.
And I was half hoping, bearing in mind, I think Jerry Seinfeld probably owns every Porsche, every half decent Porsche you can imagine.
Yeah.
I just want him to turn up in a really horribly beaten 924 that's smoking. It's actually pinking. It's not running on all the cylinders. You know when I saw it today, there was a Camry when we were out walking that it looked like someone had reversed it on a bit of a lock, and it got caught on something sharp, and it torn the back door open and around a bit.
Yeah. And it's baffled at things like that. You go, how has this happened?
Why? It's such a horrible accident.
Yeah, it is. It's not nice to behold.
He has a 924 which has a bit of a door.
A curly door, like a sandwich that's gone off. Or the front license plate on that patinated Boxster this morning was just bent away at one edge.
Oh, it was hooked. It hooked onto something and it reversed out of a parking space.
How has this happened?
How's it happen?
Like that golf buggy we saw that had backed onto the side of a building
God.
Laguna Seca. It's went, ooh, that's going to make a horrid noise when it has to drive off again.
That is going to make. So I think Seinfeld should just buck the trend. Turn up at a big extravaganza.
Did you know that amongst his Porsche collection is just... I mean, he's sold stuff, hasn't he? He had a big clear out a while ago.
Yeah.
Because he just had too much stuff.
Yeah.
And it's still an extraordinary collection by all accounts. And one of the things I discovered only a couple of weeks ago is that officially Porsche only made one 993 Speedster, which I think was a birthday present for Ferry Porsche or something.
Did they really?
Oh, one of the Porsche family, yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking of the 964 Speedster they made.
Yeah, they were factory, like as in they were a series production car for a certain, I can't remember how many made. But yeah, 993, they only did one. And it was for one of the Porsche family as a birthday present. But Seinfeld really wanted one. And in the end, they agreed to make him one. And he sent them a 993 cab. He bought a 993 cab and sent it back to the factory, and they speedsterized it for him.
Bloody hell.
So there were two 993 Speedsters in the world, and he's got the second one. He basically commissioned it.
Did it have a Chino Tonneau cover?
It did. It had bright white wheels and
Chino Caramel Tonneau.
Chino seats. And the other thing about Jerry Seinfeld, because it's true, he does still gig, doesn't he? But he still writes every day. And because he believes that it's important you have to keep, it's like any sort of thing, you have to keep limber and in good shape. And so he just goes and sits in his office with nothing else to do, believing that the human mind reacts to boredom by trying to find ways to occupy itself. And he will just force himself to write some material every single day, which I find fascinating because I don't think I have the mental discipline to do that.
No, but that's what impresses me about him even more. He doesn't even need the damn money.
No, I know.
Like, he has more money than possibly he knows what to do.
Oh, definitely.
So he's not. That is not monetary driven.
No. It's just it's
keeping your hand in.
It's what's it? Discipline, I suppose. Is what it is. It's the comics discipline.
Yeah.
Which is impressive because he could just sit on his arse browsing through the painter sample swatches, which is what I do.
You just get bored and fat and just sit around. But
no. So I mean, it would have been lovely to go and talk to him about that, but it just feels like it's just in his position. Everybody wants to talk to you, I imagine.
Yeah,
and that must become quite wearying. And having spent a lot of time in the company of quite famous people who was working on telly shows, you do realise that it's quite tiring just having to sort of chat to people all the time when you just want to sit on your arse and have a glass
Well, just
of
look,
Sprite.
at the cars.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yes, as well. If you come to a car show, you probably just want to look at the cars. But I don't know. Maybe he's happy to chat, and we missed a golden opportunity to get a really good A-list guest on the show.
I think
it's because he's not on the list. That's why. If we put him on the guest list for the podcast, we could have talked to him. Speaking of which, we should probably stop because housekeeping want to come and clean your room.
They are desperate to come in here. I'll have to just check the condition of the bathroom.
We've got to go to the airport. Oh, God.
Oh, shit.
See,
Okay. Hello?
This is brilliant.
Hello? Sorry. Okay. That was absolutely on cue.
It really
They
was,
really want
wasn't
us
it?
out now.
They do. Well, I tell you, it's check out 11 o'clock. Are we still... we missed it.
Was it?
I don't know.
Bobbins.
I mean...
It's quarter to 12.
Never mind. Anyway. All right.
Well, anyway, we need to wrap this up because we actually need to wrap this up because we need to get out.
Oh, I forgot to mention... I'll mention it next week. I got this idea for a cop show called High and Close. It's about two police officers who have terrible driving positions.
High and
close. Just you know what you do. Why have you got the seat out there? Why are you sitting? Oh, God. But that's not the bit of my notes I need. It's this bit.
Oh no! Is this this is what I'm thinking? Is there's 3 things to tell you?
Yeah, but we're dregs now. We're going to have to change this format at some point soon. It's getting very tiresome. But anyway, let's run with it for now. Johnny has a solo YouTube channel. It's called The Fake Mates with Jake Show, in which Johnny attempts to impress people by claiming to be friends with the presenter of a high-performance podcast, even though he isn't. If that's not your taste, there's The Late Break Show. We've got lots of excellent videos, including runaway hit cheap Boxster video.
Oh yeah, the bargain Boxster. We've got a couple. There will be some things coming up from Ren Spolt. Interview with Pixar chap Jay Ward.
We did a walk around, didn't we? Did a paddock walk around.
Yeah. And of course, I should mention that. How rude of me.
If you have ever seen and are a fan of our paddock walk-arounds at the Goodwood Festival Speed, and God knows about 4 people are, then why not watch us walking around the paddock at Renspelt, which will be on the Late Break Show channel, maybe as we speak.
It could be, yeah, imminently.
Cool. And the second thing I've got to tell you is... actually, you know what? I'm going to plug something else. I appeared on Ben Collins, out of Off of Being the Stig, has a new... It's actually a podcast, but he filmed it. And we did this like about a year ago or something. I thought Ben had maybe just lost the tapes or something. But I went and talked to Ben, along with an old colleague of ours, Jim Wiseman, one of the sort of unsung heroes of old era Top Gear, Clarkson era Top Gear. And we sat down with Ben and just chatted about our work on the show. And it's 2-parter. So if you go on YouTube and search Ben Collins, his series is called Some Say. And there's 2 chunks of that with Jim and me talking to Ben about stuff. And the third thing I've got to tell you is that I haven't scrolled down fast enough to find this.
That's not a thing to tell.
What have I done here? Oh, yeah, okay. Third thing I've got to tell you is that Vivian from The Young Ones is named after Vivian Road in Bristol, which is where one of the writers of the show, Lisa Mayer, lived at the time.
Really?
Yeah, it's Vivian with a Y.
Wow. Okay.
V-Y-V-I-A-N.
Vivian with a Y.
Yeah, but he's named after a street.
Well, thanks everybody for listening on that side, and we're actually going to be on the other side soon because we're flying from one side of the world to the other side on that other side of
the Atlantic
things. So, but yeah, thank you to everybody. I want to say thank you to Derek. You know who you are, Derek. Thanks for putting rogue stickers of Smith and Sniff stickers around.
Oh yes, I got a picture of one of those.
Yeah, involving one of them on the back of a chauffeur-driven Cayenne, which happened to have a member of the Porsche board.
Oh yes,
which we were.
The comms director spotted it and bless him.
He said, "Was this you?"
Yeah, but he also admitted that he did not remove it because it amused him. So that's excellent. Right, well, thank you ever so much for listening. We'll do this all again next week. Until then, goodbye.
Bye now. Thanks, please.
Mugs, t-shirts, stickers. Mugs, t-shirts, stickers. Mugs, t-shirts, stickers. We might do hats soon, we haven't decided. This may come as a surprise. But Smith and Sniff have merchandise. You won't believe your eyes. Smith and Sniff have merchandise. merchandise. Sadly, we don't do pies, but Smith and Sniff have merchandise. One day we might sell ties. Smith and Sniff have merchandise.